graders, welcome back to Mr. Nick's Poetry Corner. So today we're going to write some odes. And odes are a very old type of poem. In fact, the first odes were written by this poet named Pindar in ancient Greece, so thousands of years ago. And he wrote odes that celebrate the great athletes of ancient Greece who were competing in the Greek Olympics. Did you know that they had the Olympics thousands of years ago? They had a lot of the same events we do today. You know, they had running events, they had horse racing events, they had javelin, but they also had some events we don't have anymore, like chariot races. So an ode often celebrates a thing or a person. It's really a celebration. And Pindar would celebrate these athletes by comparing them to the Greek gods, who were the greatest at everything. So he might say, you are as strong and mighty as Zeus. You are as powerful as Poseidon. You are as skilled as Artemis. So these comparisons are called similes. Odes use a lot of similes and metaphors. A simile is a comparison of two things that aren't like each other using like or as. Often we use similes with some exaggeration. So you might have heard that I'm quite tall. It's hard to tell that through the video, right? You're not seeing me next to you, but if you ask your teachers, I am quite tall. And in describing my tallness, you could use a simile. You could say he is as tall as a giraffe, a redwood tree, the snow-capped tippy top of Lolo Peak. So a metaphor is when you make a direct comparison and say something is something else, even though it's not actually that other thing. For instance, instead of saying, I am a tall teacher among small children in the classroom, I could say, I am a giant redwood tree among a grove of small saplings. I'm not actually a redwood tree, nor are you saplings, but metaphors can help us to see something in a different or more interesting way. So today we're going to write an ode in which we try and use a lot of original similes. Over the years, odes have been used to celebrate all sorts of things, from people to very ordinary things like a pair of socks. So here today, I'm going to start with a poem from Chilean poet Pablo Neruda about a pair of socks. As I read it, I want you to notice some of the similes and metaphors that he uses to celebrate and show us these socks. Ode to a pair of socks. Marumori brought me a pair of socks, which she knitted herself with her sheepherder's hands. 2 socks as soft as rabbits. Already we have a simile there, right? Comparing the socks to their softness to rabbits. I slipped my feet into them as though into 2 cases knitted with threads of twilight and goatskin. Now, can you knit with twilight or goatskin? No, twilight's a type of light, right? So you can't knit with that, but he's saying these socks are so amazing, it's as if they were knit with twilight and goatskin. They feel like that. Violent socks. My feet were 2 fish made of wool, 2 long sharks sea blue shot through by 1 golden thread, 2 immense blackbirds, 2 cannons. So he starts putting on these socks, and his feet start changing shape, right? They become blackbirds, they become cannons, they become long sharks, right? Are his feet actually changing shape? No. He's using metaphors to show how these socks make his feet feel. My feet were honored in this way by these heavenly socks. They were so handsome. For the first time, my feet seemed to me unacceptable, like 2 decrepit firemen unworthy of that woven fire, those glowing socks. Nevertheless, I resisted the sharp temptation to save them somewhere. As schoolboys keep fireflies, as learned men collect sacred texts, I resisted the mad impulse to put them into a golden cage and each day give them birdseed and pieces of pink melon. So what was he comparing the socks there to? I resisted the mad impulse to put them into a golden cage and each day give them birdseed and pieces of pink melon, right? He's saying, I wanted to put them away, right? Put them in a cage and just look at them every day, right? Like you would a bird. It seems like something that would be pretty ridiculous to do with a pair of socks, right? To just look at them. But if you've ever had something that you got brand new and you really didn't want to get dirty or mess up, you might have just looked at it for a little while, not wanted to wear it even though it's meant to be worn. So this is the case with those socks. They're so amazing. He doesn't want to mess them up, get them all smelly. Like explorers in the jungle who hand over the very rare green deer to the spit and eat it with remorse, I stretched out my feet and pulled on the magnificent socks, then my shoes. The moral of my ode is this: beauty is twice beauty, and what is good is doubly good when it's a matter of 2 socks made of wool in winter. Don't those sound like incredible socks? Now it's your turn to write an ode using similes and metaphors to celebrate something. Except instead of socks, you're going to write an ode to your favorite fruit. So first you're going to think about your favorite fruit, then think how you could celebrate it using similes or metaphors to describe it. Think about describing its taste, smell, color, texture, seeds, where you like to eat it, and how you like to eat it. Here's a few example odes from some 4th grade students. Ode to a peach. Oh, peach, you look like you have been in the sun and tanned. You are as smooth as a paved road. On the inside, you are as sweet as thyme. When I bite into you, I am drinking juice. The first bite is as amazing as winning a race. So did you notice how original some of those similes were? When you're thinking of your similes, I really encourage you to think beyond what immediately pops into your head. Often those are the ones we've heard a lot. We've heard them over and over. So Britta could have said, you are as sweet as sugar, right? But that is a line we've heard so many times, and it's not quite as interesting, right? But instead, she said, you're sweet as thyme, which is, when you think about it, thyme is something that's so sweet and valuable, and it makes it into a more original simile. So when you guys are writing your poems, I want you to really reach beyond that first thought to try and think of something else you could compare it to, right? Giving some detail to those comparisons, too, can really help us to see them. So here's one more example, an ode to a lemon. Dear lemon, you are as sour as the Grinch. Your taste is like 1,000 pots of coffee. You make me scrinch the same way I do when I eat a warhead. You're as yellow as an autumn leaf. You're as rough as an asphalt road. You're as bright as the sun. I love the taste of you. Notice how you can exaggerate in these similes. Your taste is like 1,000 pots of coffee is fantastic. I can really taste the sourness and bitterness. Now you guys are going to sit down and write an ode to your fruit for 20 minutes. Remember, you're trying to celebrate this fruit, trying to use a lot of similes and metaphors to describe it. If you finish one poem during the writing time, try writing a second one to a different fruit. I look forward to reading all your poems.